Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lex, and I would greatly appreciate it if you want to support me, if you want to support the channel, if you would consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. Today, we are going to be talking about episode 7 of The Traitors. And I kind of got to eat my words this week. I have to eat my words this week, okay? I told y'all if a certain series of events happens, I would eat my words, and that series of events low key happened. But before we begin, please make sure that you have the notification bell on, okay? Because lots of content is coming, lots of different shows. Love is Blind is starting soon, and I know y'all like that. So let's jump into it. So we begin this episode back in the turret, and Carolyn is straight up like, how are we gonna agree on, because remember, these three do not like each other. They do not like each other. This is the most dysfunctional group of traitors I've seen on this joint.
There's a lot of distrust in here right now. I kind of want to go for Derek.
So Danielle's like, I couldn't care less. Danielle is playing that she doesn't care. She's just rocking, going with the flow. I think Danielle is still secretly very scared of Rob retaliating against her. So I feel like she's trying to take a step back. Now, Danielle does bring up the shields and she's like, well, I have mine. Rob is like, well, I'm not going to reveal whether or not I have a shield or who has a shield because I feel like there's a lot of distrust here. And Danielle's like, but aren't we supposed to be working together? And she's like, whatever, fine. So Rob wants to get out Derek. Now, remember last week when I said getting out Derek is possibly Rob's worst move. Absolute worst and terrible move. And Rob wants to get out Derek. Here's the thing. I think Boston Rob, he's too cocky. He's too cocky. He is too cocky. I get it that if someone says your name, you want to get them out, you want to ensure that it's fine, but you still have to think about the repercussions of getting people out. He's too cocky because he assumes that he can get out whoever and then spin a story in order to get them to think that he was framed or that it wasn't him. And he assumes that people are going to blindly believe him. And again, I think it's just a bit too aggressive for this group of people. So Danielle is not comfortable with getting Derek out. They have a relationship, so she says no. They bring up Sam. No on Sam. Now they bring up Sierra and Dylan. Danielle says Dylan's off the table. So at this point, these three are not agreeing on anyone. Danielle also says she was not going to kill Sierra. So they really are not agreeing on anybody. It's not going so hot. They can't agree. They can't agree. They can't agree. But eventually we make it to breakfast. And the big question is, did they agree on someone too much? So we get to a point where everybody is trickling into the breakfast room. And the last three people who have not arrived are Rob, Derek, and Dylan. So who is it? Who is it gonna be? Knock, 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 knock. And the last people to walk in are Rob, of course, and Dylan. So they choose to get out Derek.
I'm asking you guys, please, can you pass on?
I can't. He came right at me tonight. Come on, Danielle. At least let me get my revenge there.
We flash back. Now, Rob, he wants to go for Derek because he came for him and really wants to get revenge. Rob tells them in the turret, Carolyn and Danielle, look, this will build a bridge that can show that the three of us can work together. And I'm looking at this flashback like, Rob, every single offing has been because of you. Every single one, okay? You have chosen every single person. So why would they owe you anything? Yeah, I think getting Derek out was a dumb move. An absolute and utter dumb move. Because it's automatically going to be pinned on Rob. And at that, Derek left Dylan with information. So they do make a fake truce in the turret that they're going to work together. But as we see this morning, Carolyn clearly does not believe that. So Rob is sitting next to Dylan and Tom at breakfast, and he says, I'm being framed. I'm being framed. Just like Derek said was going to happen. I'm being framed. And of all people in the confessional, Tom Sandoval realizes that all three people that have come for Rob have been offed. So Alan walks into the room. He throws Derek's picture out dramatically as usual, and he lets them know that tonight's offing is going to be like no other, okay? You have to work in pairs, and your life is going to be reliant on the other person that you're with, so choose wisely. Now, Dylan says, when we're not all in the same room, let's talk to Rob. Derek, he's like, Derek left me with a name. So post breakfast, all of the girls are talking. Carolyn is there, and they're like, Danielle's crying is ridiculous. Sierra's like, oh my God, he didn't really off, Why is she crying like that? So again, people are starting to pick up on Danielle's crying, and she is doing too much. I always say, Danielle, you don't need to be sobbing at breakfast every day. It's starting to look crazy. So Dylan and Rob, basically, Dylan spills all of the beans of what Derek told him before he left.
Solid evidence against you. I'm just being honest.
People are lying. People
Well,
are not
shit.
saying, and that's what I was saying last night.
I've not lied one.
From the fact that Derek thinks it's Brittany and Rob to that he's going to be framed, just everything. So Rob is like, I feel like I could trust Dylan at this point since he does, since I don't trust my fellow traitors. Okay, I need somebody. Now, Danielle and Brittany are also having a conversation, and Brittany tells her, look, it's not going to hurt my feelings if you don't want to be partners today for the conversation. Then they do decide to be partners. And Brittany's like, we're so gifted at everything, big brother in the house. Danielle says that she does want to repair the relationship with Brittany since she also cannot trust her fellow traitors. Let's talk for a second about Dylan. Dylan, what are you doing? Dylan, what are you doing? Why in the world would Dylan think that it is a smart idea to tell Rob what Derek said? Dylan is also not as good of a player as I thought he was. Because if you were a good player, Dylan, you would have taken that information and talked to your fellow faithfuls to stage a heist and get that man out. What are you doing by telling him everything? I get that you want to gain his trust, but why does everybody in this house assume that Rob is going to work with them? When in reality, Rob has made it very clear that he is willing to backstab anybody who gets in his way. Child, I didn't get the move. So Dylan is now filling Tom in, says, look, Derek thought it was really weird that Brittany mouthed. So he was bringing up how Derek's ears were perking up, thinking it was strange that Brittany was trying to tell Dylan, don't off Rob. Like, why is that? What is the connection between Brittany and Rob? So Tom is like, but wait though, it is convincing evidence against Rob. Every single person that he has come for is all of a sudden gone. And again, when Tom Sandoval is the person that realizes that something is fishy, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like these faithfuls are misted by Rob's, I don't know. He put fairy dust on these people because I don't understand why they are so quick to ignore patterns. And as I said, when you have Tom Sandoval being the one to pick the patterns up, you know the rest of y'all are not on your game. So Tom does whisper, it is very solid evidence against him. He could be a traitor. And again, ding, ding, ding. Finally, people are starting to put things together. Again, yes, we have a dysfunctional group of traitors, but we also have a group of dumb faithful. Because I feel like nobody's really thinking and paying attention to some of the things that are happening. And that's why Rob, his head is this big where he thinks he can do any and everything, because the reality is half these people will believe him no matter what. So we get to the competition. They are all dressed in these extravagant outfits. They are battling in pairs.
No, no,
No, come on. What is it? Stop.
Now, 3 pairs are going to be safe and will get shields. 3 will be up for offing. So they have to go head to head. Now, our pairs are as follows: Sam and Ivar versus Tom and Dylan, Sierra and Rob versus Dolores and Chriselle, Danielle and Brittany versus Gabby and Carolyn. Basically, they have to hold hands for 8 minutes. And if they stay linked for that 8 minutes, then they add $4,000 to the prize pot. Whoever holds on the longest out of the pairs also gets a shield. But in order to get the money, you do have to be for the 8 minutes. But if you make it less than 8 minutes, then it's whoever holds the longest gets the shield. Now, Alan wouldn't be Alan if he didn't give a little twist to the competition, okay? Because just holding hands seems very easy, very simple. So Alan lets them know there are some gifts. And he has Fergus bring out the boxes with the gifts in them. And they got to put these goggles on and then place their hands in the boxes. Now, I hated watching this. I'm not gonna lie, there's gonna be 0 clips of this competition because I don't like bugs and I'm not gonna have y'all be subjected to the bugs. But Alan decides to bring out a bunch of multiple-legged critters to scare them. The first one is some kind of millipede. It's a giant millipede. And as soon as they put the millipede down, Chriselle gets off. And Dolores realizes immediately that she made a mistake because her partner could not take this. Now, Rob and Sierra, they will be safe because Chriselle and Dolores let go. So, next up, a scorpion is added to the mix. And Brittany and Danielle, they do seem solid. You can tell they're a bit scared, but they're solid. Carolyn and Gabby are squealing. They are moving. I really thought maybe they would let go. So Carolyn is really gunning for this because she does not want Danielle's monster butt to put up Gabby. She says she trusts Gabby. Gabby gets her. Gabby is clearly the faithful that Carolyn wants to kind of link onto. Now, Dylan, he does not care. He says he does this for fun. But Tom is not so happy, okay? It is starting to rain down cockroaches, crickets, and everybody except for Chriselle and Dolores is still in this. So, the last big mama jama is the snakes, okay? And at this point, Sierra is screaming, but Rob is talking to her. Rob's like, Sierra, what's your favorite cookie? What's your favorite ice cream? Where we gonna go eat in New York? Okay, he is trying to distract her, and she does ultimately make it. They bank $22,500. Rob and Sierra at this point are safe. However, they do need to go to a sudden death match because everybody else is still in, except for those 2. So they have to basically find this ring in a box of critters, and whoever finds it first wins. So Brittany and Danielle and Ivar and Sam are the ones to go through this nasty box of bugs and find the ring. So they also are safe. Post-mission. So Brittany is in the car and she is once again saying, look, like, Derek was the one that was leading the aggressive charge against Rob, and the evidence against him is still valid. Yeah, Brittany, you're just now realizing that Rob is not somebody that you should be, hitching your wagon to. Rob is saying that he needs to figure out a way to spin another story tonight so he can make sure that he's safe since Derek is gone. And Danielle says she still wants to get Rob out, but at this point, she cannot let Rob know how she truly feels about him. So, back at the mansion, Tom is really still on Rob because of all of the evidence against him.
Trust that guy to have your back.
No.
If you make it to the end.
Do you think he's a traitor or not?
I do think he's a traitor.
You do?
Yes.
And Dylan is like, you're making assumptions. All of a sudden now Dylan is misted by Rob. And I am confused. So Rob is working the girls. He is saying, look, like the traitors are making us look real stupid. Like there probably is only 2 left. Like, who do you think it could possibly be? Rob is asking them, why do you think I would off Derek? What sense would it make for me to do that? So Rob's like, what about Brittany? Like, what about Brittany? You know, just think about that. Who would be somebody that would off Derek? Brittany. But Rob does realize that in order to carry out this plan of getting Brittany out, that he actually needs Carolyn and Danielle on his side. So Rob pulls aside Carolyn and she's like, there's still heat on you. Like people are saying your name, just so you know. He's like, okay, Brittany. What about Brittany tonight? Brittany, we can frame it on her. It makes perfect sense. And Carolyn begrudgingly is on board with it. But you can definitely tell this is not the plan that she's looking for. So Dolores is telling people once again, she does not feel like it is Boston Rob. And Dolores, girl, your reads have all been off, okay? Every single one of them. Your reads have been trash. So she is talking with the girls and, you know, Brittany's kind of trying to talk to them as well and ask them, like, what do you think? What's going on? Like, what's happening? And Brittany really does start to realize that they are not saying much to her. Because again, remember, Rob has been putting her name out there and Rob worked the girls before Brittany got to them. So now Brittany is realizing there is a bit of a cold shoulder here. Why don't they want to talk to me? We've been sharing everything this entire game. What's going on? So Rob is also filling in Danielle about Brittany's name being said. Roundtable time. So Dylan decides that he is going to speak up first about what Derek said, how he predicted that he was going to be offed and everything as such. So he says that Derek threw out Boston Rob and Brittany's names. And he's explaining why Derek thought that it was Brittany because of the little fight they had earlier, because of how strong Brittany was in defending him. So Brittany's like, okay, like I could tell that you were struggling to make a decision last week, Dylan. That's why I told you to go with your gut. Okay. I actually thought Brittany's defense was okay. Brittany's like, look, she was saying that it was such a blow to Derek's ego, that somebody maybe didn't want to go with his plan, that he would try to throw her name out there and try to put her under the bus. So Brittany's promising that she's a faithful 100%. Now, Sam throws out, look, there is a lot of convincing evidence against Rob. Why can't y'all see this? Open y'all eyes. All 3 people that Rob has gone for have gotten out. So Tom points out that the only traitor that has gotten out in this game has gotten out by another traitor. And Dolores is like, but wait, it was Dylan that got out Bob the Drag Queen, not Rob. So Rob is like, look, since Wes and Derek are traitors, they clearly wanted to go after me. We're all the 3 caged boys. It was easy enough to try to frame me as well, since y'all already felt like the 3 caged people were potentially traitors.
Truthfully, between the 4 of you, I think there's only one answer. There's one person that understands game moves.
So Rob is like, what reason would I have to off Derek? All it's going to do is put suspicion onto me. And again, yeah, Rob, this plan might have worked like 2 weeks ago, but it is too coincidental. It is too coincidental that every single person that has gotten out has mentioned your name. So unfortunately, the whole, why would I do that? I'm being framed. It's not going to work this time. I think that if you are actually paying attention to the game, which Sam and Tom clearly are, you would see things look a little weird. So Brittany is like, once again, I am a faithful, okay? My name is out here. You guys are going to continue to have the same conversation every single day. We're going to have the same conversation tomorrow, and we're still going to be wondering if Rob is a traitor, okay? So Rob is like, look, it's a compliment. It is a compliment that I feel like you're capable to pull this off, Brittany. And we go to the vote. So the vote, fairly close. Tom votes for Rob. Chriselle votes for Tom. Britt votes for Rob. Sierra votes for Brittany. Dylan votes for Gabby. And he says it's because he doesn't think it's either person. Carolyn votes for Rob. And I was like, yes, let's go. Sam votes for Rob. Ivar votes for Rob. Rob votes for Brittany. And Danielle, our deciding vote is for...
I voted for you, Rob.
Rob. Meaning, Rob is kicked out the back door. Goodbye, Rob. Good riddance. It was a fun run, but as I said, I do think Rob got entirely too cocky. I knew that his downfall would be getting out Derek. I think even if he wanted to get Derek out, he needed to wait a week. But I think that Rob, or wait a day, or wait 2 days. But I think, unfortunately, he did not have enough patience. And as I said, I think he was too cocky. Ego was a little bit too big. And unfortunately, it led to his downfall. So Alan lets them know before they leave the room that at midnight, they have to go to the castle church, the 6 people that are up for elimination, because the traitors, are going to off you face to face. So whoever gets out is going to know who the traitors are. Post mission. Brittany and Danielle, they are in the hallway dancing gleefully. They are happy. They are overjoyed. Big brother in the house. They pulled it off. They are happy. It seems like those two, they are getting along again. We get to the turret. So Danielle and Carolyn, they both agree that there was no way to defend Rob. Good riddance. He had to go. So Danielle is like, I got you. Okay. Just know I got you. And Carolyn's like, not before Brittany, though. And she's like, no, I got you. She's like, look, I owe you because I did you dirty. Like, I get that. I don't know if she was trying to imply that she would get out Brittany if needed, but Carolyn responds that she is just taking things one day at a time. Hold up. Let's not do too much right now. Whew. So they basically have to decide between Dylan, Gabby, Sierra, Chriselle, Dolores, and Tom. Those are their people that they can get out this week. I think a fair choice will be Sierra. I think Sierra has been fairly vocal lately about who she thinks the traitors are. So I definitely think Sierra could be a fair choice, where I don't think anybody is going to be really, really upset or pin it directly on anyone. But I do think she's somebody who maybe will start to come up with better decisions. Chriselle, obviously Chriselle is very influential with the other women. She swayed the vote that one week a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of days ago. I keep saying weeks, but it's a couple of days. So Chriselle is a fair option. Dylan, of course. Dylan's reads this week, not the best, but Dylan is still somebody who has been known to be on the scent. And I do think it would be a fair week to get out Dylan because he has been so off. I feel like he's kind of a little bit under the radar this week. He hasn't really been at the forefront of anything. He wasn't the one that started the roundtable. So I don't know. I think there's a couple of good choices of people to get out here. Dolores is quite loud, so she could be someone as well. We will see. Like I said, Boston Rob, I think he played a little too hard, too fast. And unfortunately, I do think that with this whole thing, you have to really realize people will start to put patterns together. I think Rob, unfortunately, was thinking that people were a little less intellectual than they actually were, and it led to his demise. But if you made it to this point in the video, that means you liked the video. So I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It really helps get the videos out there, and it inspires me to keep creating. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye.